What does it take to write a book, to be a speaker, to take big stages and international stages, and even have a TV program? I bet you're going to be surprised to hear this. You're going to want to listen to with my guest today, Melissa Heathers, who's wonderful. Lots of goosebump moments for me. I think maybe you too. Hey, everybody, welcome to The Art of a Meaningful Life, where, we talk about ways in which we find meaning in our lives. And that is as varied as we are individuals, which makes it a lot of fun. And today, my guest is Melissa Heathers, and I'm really so excited. Melissa, I'm so excited to talk to you. You're right
I'm
there.
so excited to talk to you.
So I'm going to talk about you for a second. You're the creative visionary. You're a speaker, TV host. I don't know if you ever saw any of this coming, and I'm curious to know because I get that, right? And you're artist. You're into photography, like I am,
Mhm.
and you wrote a book, which I really love. And I let's start. Let's start.
Let's
Meaningful
do
life.
this.
Let's do it. Let's dive in. I want to ask first, what drew you to write a book? Did your book come two questions, I guess. So did the book come before the speaking, or the speaking first and then the book?
So let me answer your second part of the question first. My book came first, and then the speaking came after that. I always knew I wanted to write a book.
Mm-hmm.
I just had to be in the right version of myself to write that book. So I wrote it, and I wrote it just for me. It's called Dear Ego, Dear Heart. And it is basically letters from your head to your heart and the battle that we kind of have within ourselves. It's really about duality, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I had started many, many times throughout my life writing books. And I was like, no, it's not me. No, it's not me. And I get my downloads from like experiencing nature and beauty in the world. And then finally, it just came to me, and I'm like, okay, it's going to be poetry. It's not going to be this memoir that I had originally started.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just wrote it for me. And it was kind of at the end of my healing journey, the end of my transition. And I wasn't like planning on kind of doing anything with it other than, selling it to family and friends. And then I really believed in what I wrote because it really came from my heart and my soul, my core. And then somebody else believed in what I knew. Her name is Carrie Kaufman. She's a member of the 262 family, and she did a live. And then yeah, I was so introverted. Like, if you knew me last year, March last year, before the speaking, before the podcast, I was like just introverted. Oh, I wrote this book and I love it for myself in my healing journey. So,
Yeah.
and then the speaking came after. And
Yeah.
yeah,
So you never saw that coming.
I never saw that coming,
I can
ever.
relate. I can relate. Yeah, like
Right?
I'm gonna write a book because it feels good, and I want to do it like for me, right?
Yeah.
And then you're like, well, now what's next? And people start like giving you ideas of what else you could do, and it's like, oh, like you're on this runaway train now.
Yeah, I think, Carmen, that it's the power of words. Stories heal, they evolve people. So I thought after I wrote it and after other people started believing in it, other than my loved family and friends, I was like, there's a power in storytelling. There is an art in writing, and it is an art and it's a gift, and our stories heal and evolve people. So, yeah.
Mm. So you said when you were describing it, like you had different like ideas, inspirations. You said, no, that's not me. Was what you were thinking about writing not you, or being an author not you?
No, I've always had visions of being an author for a very, very long time. My parents are deceased, and I did both their eulogies and I wrote it, and they were both very, very poetic eulogies. So I speak kind of metaphorically throughout most of my life. It was just the concept, like I had started writing a book like a memoir of just the average girl with, a sick dad and a handicapped sister and a narcissistic mother. And as much as I think those memoirs are important to share with the world so other people know that they're not alone,
Mhm.
it wasn't me. Like it wasn't the story of my healing that I wanted to share with the world. So I went a different route and did poetry instead.
So like a different medium. So like if you're
Yeah.
doing a painting, you've got a lot of choices, right?
Yeah.
Oil or watercolor or what have you, or you could draw it, a different way of getting your message across. So
Yes.
poetry, which is really unique compared to, I mean, there are poets out there, but you all are kind of like in a special group.
We sure are.
You sure are. Yeah, yeah. And so, and then taking a stage, and I don't know, is that vulnerable to you? To
Oh
me,
my
it
gosh,
is.
Carmen, it was so vulnerable. It took me like months to prepare it because I wrote my book. I still work full time. I don't have a business, right? Well, I do now, but I didn't back then. So
Uh,
I wrote the book and then I was taking the stage and I'm like, I don't want it to be just about the book. I'll tie it in, but so I really had to dig deep and talk, like really think of a subject that I wanted to talk about. And it was a vulnerable subject. It was very vulnerable. It was about the power of avocation, but you have to advocate for yourself and your healing and your transition before you can really advocate for others. In my experience, upbringing, it was always about advocating for other people and forgetting about yourself. So I had to take that step back and really learn how to live my life, advocating for myself so I could really show up for other people. And yeah, like my journeys in there, I had a car accident when I was 35 where I almost lost my vision and had a brain injury and did treatments for 5 years. And there was a lawsuit involved and all that crazy stuff. And that was the pivotal moment where I was like, no, I have to care for myself right now. I have to start living my life and become a better version. And the darkness from that accident was horrific, but the light and the transition that came from it, so I could be the best version of myself and really live my life, was the best part of my life. So,
mhm.
if that answers your question in a very long way.
No, it's beautiful. I don't know. When I hear people talk about change and I think about myself, change, the biggest change is usually when you're faced with like a life and death or a major you can go down this path of what you're used to, or you can take this major chance and go the other way.
Mhm.
And I think a lot of women can share the piece about we always put everybody else first, and then to put
Mhm.
ourselves first is no easy task. And
No.
you've said transition a few times, and I'm thinking that is a transition, and we have to like consciously think about it and go, oh wait, I didn't put myself first right then. Next time I will.
Yeah.
And
And it's so important. It's so important to find, first of all, your value, your self-worth, and your self-love so that you can put yourself first. And I think we're in a society where we're not, we're raised in a society with so many social beliefs and social conditioning and we lose ourselves in that, especially as women. It's family first, kids first, husband first, and
mm,
to reprogram your brain. I was lucky because I had a car accident and it just was reprogrammed. You lose your neural pathways. And okay, you got to reprogram it. But we still like there's still so many individuals out there that don't put themselves first or don't know their value and their worth. So
yeah. And
yeah.
I find this so interesting. I mean, I'm in my 60s now and like late 60s at that. And it's not until later decades that I started questioning some of the things that I've believed my whole life because it is just the way. And I never even thought, about myself, right? And I never even thought anything different because why would I? And it didn't question. But when I stopped to question some of those beliefs and like ask myself, well, why? Well, why? And is illuminating at that. Oh my goodness, I've been thinking this like forever because I was told that, and I just said, oh, okay, that's the way it is.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
me too. Yeah.
yeah,
And then your ego gets in there and it tells you to keep you safe, but
yeah.
and certain, yep, this is the way. You go to school, you get married, you have a white picket fence, you have kids, and it will keep you in that certainty of life.
Hmm.
And it's only in those little shifts and transcendences and nuggets of wisdom where you're like, no, I don't think this is the way. I
Yeah,
think there's a different way, and
yeah,
this is my journey here of
yeah.
life on earth. And
Yeah. And I think nothing short of having an experience where your life is going to change a lot, or, where it's life and death, that you're like, wait a second, what a gift my life is, and am I living it the way I really want? And even for me, like asking myself, what do I really want, was a big deal, because I hadn't really thought of it like every answer was what was best for others. I
right?
want this because instead of like, no, what do I really want? And is it I remember a friend of mine is a coach. She goes, look in the mirror and ask yourself, what do you want? And you keep asking yourself why and why. And she goes, and don't stop. Just keep going. And I remember crying because it was so touching for me. Like, I'm not sure what I really want. I haven't asked myself in that way before. And I
Hmm.
know I'm not the only one in that.
So many.
So
So many
many.
people, because we're all wired. Like I write about it in my book. We're born light and love and pure and innocent. We don't know anything of
Uh-huh.
these values and social conditionings and belief systems. So I feel like maybe my kids' generation, because our generation are the ones that are waking up to, I want more for my life.
Hmm.
I want to really live my life. I
Hmm.
want to have, like your beautiful title of your show, an art to my life. I want to create my life how I want it to look. I want to co-create it with the universe. So, yeah, there's still a lot of people out there sleepwalking, but we are, I think, collectively and as a society, starting to shift and awaken to those little nudges that we feel inside of asking
Hmm.
the question why, or what does
Yeah.
this look like for me, my short time on Earth. So,
Right. I love that. And I think both of us are part of the 262 movement, and around part of the women's channel, which we're going to talk about in a second. You have a TV show coming up, and we participate in summits and speaking. And one for me, one of the beautiful things about different groups, and women's groups in particular, is I'm exposed to women who have been there, done that, and their journeys, which may not be mine, but they're inspiring, inspiring to
yeah.
hear, which wouldn't otherwise be exposed to, unless I sought that out. And the more, of course, I look for it, the more I find it. And of course, you're one of those wonderful women, that inspiring, right? And to hear your story. And I don't know, I'd love to hear your take on being part of a group of women seeking
Yeah.
empowerment. And
I love our movement and our group. It's brought a lot of light and wisdom in my world from many different perspectives. That's what I love. It's different perspectives, an entrepreneur, a solopreneur. Um, I think for me, it's like when I wrote my book the version of myself when I was maybe married or before the car accident, it probably wouldn't have been ready for that women's groups or, networking because I was still in kind of a social conditioned place. And then you have whatever darkness or trial or tribulation that it opens you. Even though it feels heavy and it's dark and it's scary and it's uncertain, it's opening you to come back home to yourself and
mhm,
I have to like I know for me that I would totally need to be I am fully open and willing to bring in the light and the nuggets of wisdom and the aligned voices before I entered any sort of women's group or stage or network. So I'm really grateful that, I am open and I've had that opening so that I could be a part of something that is so powerful with aligned voices and a shared sacred space, which happens to be a stage and summits.
Very
Like
brave.
attracts like, you know?
So courageous, also so courageous. And I don't know, I feel like I'm hearing you say it's like there's a crack open to maybe or what if, and then exposing yourself to others and
Mhm.
listening and going, oh yeah, what about that? And then the guidance along the way to say where you get to the point and go, I'm ready. I'm ready to
Yeah.
challenge myself. Not
Yeah.
totally ready to, I mean, who's ready to actually get on stage for the first time or to
I
speak?
still shake.
Yeah, yeah, with sweat, and go, okay, I got it, and go through it, but you're like ready to do it and face the consequences and just, even at times when I feel like I bombed, I walk away and go, all right, you did it. You're still alive.
Pat on the back.
Yeah.
And that's what we learn when we bomb. Oh.
Uh-huh.
I've been on some panels where I'm like, the women are very powerful and incredible speakers. And I'm like, am I having imposter syndrome? Like, what am I doing here? But then it's just like, no, my perspective and how I see the world, it matters too. It's
Yeah.
just different. That's
Yes,
all. Yeah.
yes. And there are people who will absolutely relate to
Yeah.
your approach and what you have to say. And I mean, we have no way of knowing even the people that we impact in our lives. And
I think that's the most important piece
mm-hmm,
for me. If it just resonates with one person, if it sheds a part of themselves for one person,
mm-hmm,
then I've done my job on
mm-hmm,
stages, you know.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So when did your book come out? And we're going to have links to the book, by the way, in here. So listeners, don't worry. It'll be in the description for the video. But when did your book come out?
I actually published it December 24th, 2024. It
Wow.
was a Christmas gift to myself. Yeah. And
That's
yeah.
so short time, big changes.
Big changes, crazy changes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a TV show coming out dedicated to authors, as you know. I'm also doing my first book signing with Indigo. It went international on all the big bookstores and catalogs like Magers and Quinn and Barnes and Noble. And I didn't even know that happened. Every now and then I'll just do a search to see what the SEO searches are pulling up. I don't know how to do any of that. And one night I was searching and all of a sudden my book showed up everywhere. I'm like, oh, it's late and I'm dreaming. So I text my boyfriend at work, like, can you search my book? Because I think I'm hallucinating. And so he did, and he was like, oh, it's everywhere. It's on all these catalogs. And I was like, whoa, amazing. So there's on a lot of platforms though for self-published authors. And that's the sad part and the hard part. And it was very hard for me to like market myself and put myself, I'll market and promote anybody else when
Right.
it comes to me. That was like a very big mental shift that I had to do for myself
To self-promote.
to self-promote.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm great for everybody else.
Me
Not so
too.
easy for myself.
No, but your art is beautiful.
Thank you. Well, it's I think a lot of us struggle with talking about ourselves and promoting
Yeah.
things and but when you're an entrepreneur and you're an author and speaker, you have to.
You do. And I actually had to have conversations with my designer of my book, who happens to be my ex-sister-in-law, but she's a brilliant designer and we're like soul sisters. And
Uh-huh.
she's been an entrepreneur for a long time. And I'm like, I can't do this. Like, I don't want to do this. And she was always very supportive and said the exact, you have to do it. Like, you just have to do it. I'm like, okay, feels very vain, but it's not.
No. Was there a shift? Anything that you said to yourself that made it like there was no way that you could not, you must?
Yeah, I had to have that conversation between my ego and my heart
Mm-hmm.
all the time. I still do. I'm like, okay, this is important. But at the end of the day, my heart spoke and said, your words are powerful and they will resonate with the right people that needs to resonate. I know my book's not for everybody, not even my boyfriend, but it resonates with like-minded women and humans. And I was like, it's meant to be out in the world. I was the hub that the universe picked to write those words, and I really believed in that. So that was the shift. And that was the conversation that I had to have with myself. So
Like, yeah, so like even for me, like networking, getting in and when I don't know people, right? I'm like I could talk myself out of walking into any room. Like, and in the beginning when I first transitioned from I was a nurse for 40 years and decided to be an entrepreneur, had no idea what that meant, I'm like, oh, promote myself. I don't well, and like it meant going to meetings, and I truly, if I could get myself there, I'd walk in and excuse myself like I'm going to the restroom and just leave because I couldn't
oh,
take it. It was like, I don't know. I have to talk about myself. I don't even know how to explain it. And then someone said to me, they go, you know what? Somebody in that room really needed to talk to you,
that's right.
and you left and you didn't show up for them. And so when I put it in terms of service,
Yes.
and no agenda, right? So I wasn't
Yeah.
there to collect business cards. I was there to connect. And I thought if I could connect with a few people today, I'm that in the right people will be there for
Yeah.
me. I just let it go then.
Really about the art of connection. And connection's super important to me because I lived the first version of myself not connected to anything, like no family. And I came home to myself. So you going there to show up for service is also servicing yourself and showing up for yourself out of a place of love, which
Hmm.
is equally important.
Yes, that was
Yeah.
the second piece I had to learn. Once
Yes.
I did it, I realized I'm like, oh, this feels so good
Yeah.
because I got to connect with others who they needed to hear from me, but I needed to hear from them. And
Uh-huh.
just the art of communicating with someone is a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
And I thought I've been missing out.
I think when you communicate, and okay, so it goes back to like the whole I had to be open and ready. And then you start attracting like-minded people. And when you're connecting with people who think like you and see your vision and, communicate like you, it brings like meaning, like deep meaning to your heart. Like, yes,
Mhm,
I've heard you and I've satisfied this like uh longing and love inside because I'm connecting with
mhm.
people who value me
Right?
because I value myself now. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, connecting is one of our basic and mandatory spiritual needs is to connect with others, connect with
Hmm.
ourselves and with nature. And we are nature. So to connect with nature is connecting with another part of ourselves. And so are others, right? And so that and I dare say I believe that's missing quite a bit in our society.
Hmm.
The art of being present for another, just listening, turning your phone off or not having it there, and really just paying attention without thinking about what I'm going to say next.
I love it. Slowing down and taking a breath and really listening, that's a beautiful connection in its own. And I
Hmm.
think, correct me if I'm wrong, or if you don't feel the same, I think being out in nature and having that connection with nature then allows us to develop those skills to slow down, listen, because when we're out in nature and we're connecting with it. I mean, some people, I hike with people that speed walk all the time. Like, I can't keep up. I want to enjoy the moment of this present moment here in this beautiful area. So like let's just slow down, listen to the sounds,
Hmm.
look for the beauty that is unfolding in front of you as you walk.
Hmm.
And it's for me, it's been a strength of learning how to connect with myself out in nature and then bring it back to the table.
Hmm.
I just said to my cousin, who's also a nature photographer and spends most of her time in nature doing that stuff, I said, you got to bring me with you. That piece of me is missing, and I know it and I feel it within myself, and I had to reconnect to that part of myself. So,
Oh.
yeah, the power of nature.
Melissa, that intuition that you got that hit that what you needed is so powerful because a lot of
Mhm.
times I think we don't know what we really need because we're so, it's like this frenetic activity going on that to slow down enough to even recognize what's missing.
Yeah, I mean, I've always been intuitive, but I never recognized it until after my transcendence. And I'm really still learning to embrace that intuition, intuitively myself or higher power, whoever, redirected me to write that book that way, intuitively, I'm not a marketer in business or whatever, but I'm doing what intuitively feels right to me to promote things out of self-love. And I always try to connect the intuition to love. I try to speak from love. I try to be light in love. And I always try to keep that intuition in that kind of zone. See where it goes. Hold faith to the higher power that my intuition is guiding me to the
Yeah.
right next place. So,
Yeah, I just got chills, and for a very good reason. I'm listening, and my heart is just I'm just so moved, and I'm thinking like of myself, even say a decade ago, or people listening, thinking for me to make a change like that, it's a big, big, big step, and I don't know, so I need to learn this, and I need to do this, and I need to do that, and these people must have studied this and all the things, right? And what you're saying is now listen to your heart. Listen, slow down, connect in nature, slow down enough that you can hear you can hear the messages that you're meant to hear on the steps next to take, all the have tos that as an entrepreneur we're told you have to do. Yeah, the very first step is slowing down and checking in.
yeah, being
And
with yourself.
yes.
That's the first step to healing. Like when I was healing from my accident and then my divorce, I had no money. I was a single mom, but I knew I had to because I knew it was going to be a catastrophe if I didn't. And whether I almost had a nervous breakdown through my divorce.
Mm-hmm.
I knew that shift within had to be for me so
Mm-hmm.
I could be a better mom and more present in my life. And it all started with the act of slowing down, reflecting,
Mm-hmm.
asking things like, why does it have to look like this? What can my world be?
Mm-hmm.
And those cracks that were already cracked from the trauma, they just started to break open more and more and more to let the light in. But if I didn't take that first step to at least slow down and be with myself and learn about myself and who I am and what I need and my values and my beliefs from my core, not what the outside world tells me, that would never have happened.
Yeah, it's kind of counterintuitive to many of our cultural how we are that we're at least in my life programmed the do more, do more, do more, achieve, do more.
Yeah.
And I'm hearing you say, no, slow down, take it in, and ask those hard questions.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So
That
that you can love yourself
yeah, yeah.
and you can open
Mm-hmm.
for
Oh,
others. Yeah.
mm, yeah,
Yeah. Who are you from here?
yeah.
Not here, not what you've been told, from
Mm-hmm.
your heart. And then the alignment between your head and heart comes.
Mm-hmm.
If you're only, listening to hear, you totally disregarded your heart and your feelings. And we're taught to do that, and it's not easy, but it is possible. And many, many people in the world are doing it, and they're questioning, okay, does it need to look like this? Or
Yeah,
can I come home to myself? You're safe to come home to yourself and love yourself and have a meaningful life.
right.
Design the art of your life how you want it to look.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wow. Oh my gosh. See, I got
Told
such
you I speak metaphorically.
I want to touch on your I don't want to forget your TV show on the Women's Channel.
Yeah,
Yeah, so what
haven't seen.
is it and why? Why did you choose this route?
Um, it is called, let me announce the name, The Book Crawl. And it does stream on the Women's Channel through Easy Way TV with Dr. Eric Suley. That's his streaming service. And I'm super excited about it. It is actually what you hear. It's a book crawl, like a pub crawl, but I'm doing it for books. And I chose this path because when I wrote my book and all the self-promotion that you have to do and not having a lot of platforms out there,
Mhm.
I believe so deeply in the power of words.
Power of
That's what I could afford. Power of words.
words, yes.
Words?
Hmm.
Yes.
Hmm.
When I was healing, that's what I had enough money for. So it was a lot of self-help books and spiritual books and Eckhart Tolle, which is my biggest inspiration power now.
Hmm.
And without those platforms for authors to get visible, how is the world going to continue to heal? I mean, we have podcasts, we have TV shows, we have all of that for spoken word, but written word is equally important. So my mission is to bring authors to a platform where they can really get visible and have fun in the process and do book crawls for their authors on socials. And then, yeah, then they're live on TV.
I'm excited. I'm excited for you. What a big step. And we're talking like just not even 2 years, just barely a year, right?
Yeah,
From the time your book came out. Wow.
yeah,
What does a
yeah.
book crawl look like?
I'm so excited about it actually, because it's a way to promote authorship and not
Yes.
necessarily always be my book, which I'm still trying to promote, obviously.
Uh,
I have 12 spots on my show, one episode a month, and their show goes live onto the actual channel. But I want to give it justice. I want people to start seeing their book on social. So before each author's interview goes live for that month, I'm personally going to go out and book crawl, pub crawl, coffee crawl with their books and promote their books on either lives or videos. I'm currently doing a promotion for this 5, 6 authors that I have now. Um, yeah, just promoting them. And then I'm going to
wow.
make it fun and make it actually a crawl, a book crawl. I'm
Uh,
going to New York actually next Friday to interview 2 of the authors on the
oh,
show that live in New York. We're going to go find some
wow.
really cool spots.
So you've mentioned there aren't a lot of platforms for authors, so you created one.
I created one. That's how important the power of words are. And I invested in myself and had that vision, and it just kind of
Uh-huh.
aligned for the love of authorship.
What a beautiful thing to do and to
Yeah.
create. And
It
how
will air on Easy Way TV under the Women's Channel, and Easy Way TV streams under Roku, Amazon Prime. I think they're talking with Netflix right now. So it is a streaming
wow.
service. And then if you want to see the book crawls for each
Mhm.
author, you can join me on my social media on Facebook and Instagram.
Okay. So we're going to put those links in there because
Thank
this
you.
is wonderful. And I think for all the listeners, what is the art of a meaningful life for them? If you're thinking about a book or you're thinking I'll never get on stage, but it sounds like maybe that would be a big challenge. That's how it happened for me. I challenged myself.
Me
Or
too,
what
girl.
have what you've just seen, the first step is to connect with yourself. Like what do you where do you see yourself? That means taking some of those courageous steps forward, and aren't you an example of that? So
I'm
applause.
trying.
Yeah. No, you're doing it. You're trying, but you're doing it. You're doing
Yes.
it. And no easy, those aren't easy steps always.
Talking
Yeah.
yourself off the ledge every other day. It's just like, well,
Yeah.
yeah. And then it always comes back to my heart. I'm like, no, this is needed in the world. There's a
Mhm.
problem. There's not a lot of visibility or credibility for authors. Here's a solution. So
Yeah, listen to your heart.
yeah,
I think that's a great place to close. And
me
I've
too.
had so many goosebump moments here today, and I cannot thank you enough because I know you've got messages there today that our listeners are just gonna soak up. Thank
I
you so
hope
much.
so.
Oh yeah, I know.
Thanks for having me on the show.
Absolutely. What a treat. What a treat. And so everyone check out the in the video description. I'll have all the links because you're going to want to connect with Melissa and follow her along on her book crawls and everything else that is going on. Let's applaud her along the way, and we'll see you all in a couple weeks. Bye.
Yes.
Yeah.
Bye.